gotta backtrack. And you should've kept my name out your mouth. Ask me though how it all turned out. When you try to use my name for clout, keep on going, give me something you can talk about.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing this fine? Monday, December 1st. Wow, I have had a very long day. It's been a long day. I woke up at 4 a.m. and I had Sanskrit at 6 a.m. And then from there, I had to get dressed like for the rest of the day or like do my makeup, my hair. And then I worked on BJ Investigates, got a bunch of stuff coming out very soon for that. Going to be recording tomorrow. Got a video coming out about Roblox tomorrow. It was supposed to come out on Thanksgiving Day, but it's been a disaster, and just trying to get it out and up, and just technical difficulties as far as the eye could see, but it's going to be coming out tomorrow, knock on wood. And then today I've been trying to keep up with all of the goings on in court. It was a huge court day today across the country. There was a first thing we're going to talk about is going to be the verdict came in the Megan Pete the Stallion, Megan the Stallion Pete versus Milagro Gramz Cooper. We're going to talk about that. And also going on today, I think maybe even up till like right now, is Luigi Mangione has a hearing. So Luigi Mangione's a suppression hearing. They're trying to keep out. Now his attorneys are the same ones as Diddy's attorneys, or at least some of them, like one of them, Mark Agnifilo. And Mark Agnifalo's wife is actually the lead attorney on the case, Karen Friedman Agnifilo. And Mark Agnifilo's on the case too. And then there's this character from Altoona, Pennsylvania, the local counsel. He is so funny. I like him. He was there. So we'll talk about that. We'll read Inner City Press's tweets. But before we get into that, that'll be the second half of the video. I want first to talk about the Megan, the Pete stop. Megan, repeater stop. You messed me up. I wanted first to talk about Megan the Stallion Pete the Stallion verdict. Okay, so what was actually, again, let's go over what was actually sued for and what was actually sued about, because looking online, they are reporting in Vanity Fair that Milagro was sued for harassment. She was not. Okay, so I don't know what that's about. So what was Milagro? She's a they call her a blogger. I don't know if she has a blog, but she's like a YouTuber, Twitch. We YouTuber, and does she stream on Twitch? Something else, radio station head. She used to do whatever. She's found by a jury today to be media. Okay, for the purposes of the law. Now, it's kind of complicated what ended up happening, because what was she actually being sued for? Number one, no particular order. Number one, defamation per se. Defamation per se. And that was for talking about Megan the Stallion, allegedly lying, being a liar, or committing perjury specifically on the stand. So that's accusing someone of committing a crime, which is defamation per se. But in Florida, and I think it might be all federal, if you're doing federal defamation, you're suing somebody that's considered to be a media defendant. Now, this is not the same thing as a journalist. They're not the same thing as the news. Listen to the word. News is not the same as media. Charlemagne the God. I guess people could say what he does is news, but you can imagine, like, Blippi isn't the news, is media. But then, is Blippi media necessarily for the purposes of this statute? Maybe not, because there's all these requirements that the jury had to consider, and the requirements are like, is there neutral, unbiased reporting for the purposes of disseminating news to the public, or commentary to the public on matters of public concern. So there was a little bit of a trip up with the defamation one, because if you're going to be suing somebody who's a media defendant, which news would most likely qualify, but you don't have to be news to be a media defendant, then you have to do something first. And what the something first is you have to send notice. You have to send notice to the person you're about to sue, basically giving them an opportunity to issue a retraction, to take back what they said, to take down the information, to apologize, whatever. And if you don't do that, then you're kind of breaking the rule. Like you might not be able to recover your, damages should you go through the whole exercise of a trial and then to be found, you're not even media. Hold on. Megan Thee Stallion was supposed to send a cease and desist or a demand letter or notice that she was going to sue. She didn't actually send one. So what ended up happening today is one of the things, the first thing, like I said, no particular order, that Milagro was found to be liable for by the jury was defamation. That was one of the things Megan sued for. It's one of the things that Milagro was found to be liable for. So the problem is the jury also found, or not, I mean, a problem, it depends on who you're asking. The problem for Megan Thee Stallion, but certainly not a problem for Milagro. The problem for the plaintiff, Megan Thee Stallion Pete, is that her lawyers or she, whatever, didn't send one of those demand letters, didn't send a letter saying, hey, we about to sue you. So, take down this, that, and the other, and, retract your statement, issue apology, whatever. They didn't send one of them. So the jury found out, the jury found that Milagro is media. So Megan Thee Stallion was supposed to send some type of little notice before she sued, and she didn't do that. So I don't know if that verdict is going to stand as, technically being liable for defamation. Now, I do have reason to believe that the judge has already docked off the money that the jury found Milagro to owe Megan Thee Stallion over this defamation claim. It was like a 15,000 plus 1,000 punitive or whatever. So it was like that original amount that the jury awarded was that Milagro was going to have to pay $75,000 in damages to Megan Thee Stallion. And that was what the jury said. But the jury also said she was media. So I think because she was considered to be media, the judge has already taken away the amount owed by Milagro to Megan Thee Stallion, based on that proportion of things. Okay, so let me read to y'all Megan Cuniff's tweets from the whole day. Okay, so we'll start like 7 hours ago when she says that good morning from the, no, I would rather not have Grok interfere. Thank you. Good morning from the federal courthouse in Miami, where jurors are beginning their second day of deliberation in Megan Thee Stallion's defamation lawsuit against Milagro. I will update you soon, as soon as there's something to update. Well, Megan was late. So actually, Pam Esquire on YouTube, y'all can go watch her video. Pam, and I did share it on my story, on my post. So Pam Esquire said, like, by the time Megan Cuniff was up and tweeting, the jury already had asked 2 questions, or maybe 3. They were asking about a media defendant. So the whole thing about asking about the media thing indicated to me that they were going to find Milagro on the first instance liable for defamation, because from what I recall, which I could be recalling incorrectly, misrecalling as it were, but if I recall correctly, from what I recall from that jury instruction sheet, the jury had to first determine is yes or no defamation. And if the answer was no to defamation, then it was like skip on to the next section. But if the answer was yes to defamation, then the jury was like skip on to keep going on this section. And this section was like, now you have to determine if she is a media defendant. So the fact that this morning it was being reported that that the jury was asking about media defendants and what is media, that kind of indicated to me possibly they were leaning toward yes on defamation. So the other thing that they had asked about this morning in the wee hours, of the court just opened. It was 9 something. You know what? It was 9:11. Pam Esquire said she went live at 9:11 a.m. So really it had just, started, and they had 2 questions. So that was something about media. And another question was about Megan Thee Stallion's voter registration, and when specifically it actually was that Megan Thee Stallion registered to vote in the state of Florida. Now, come to find out, just for those curious, and this is a public record, but just for those curious, Megan Thee Stallion had registered to vote in Florida in September of last year, 2024. And come to find out, she would come around to sue Milagro like a month or two later, October, November 2024. Okay. So maybe it was even in September. I don't exactly remember, but she registered to vote. And then, swiftly thereafter, she sued Milagro. Now, does that necessarily have anything to do with anything? No. I mean, somebody could live in a state for years and never register to vote. But had they argued on the issue, had they pushed the issue, maybe it would have ended up mattering for something, in the grand scheme of things. But okay, let's see. Here's this. I'll update you as soon as there's something to update. Okay, so the other question that they had, other than the voter registration question, was they specifically asked about the term maliciously. Okay, now this was something that we did cover in my last live stream of this coverage, and that is that I pretty much chalked it up to like the jury is going to find that, Milagro promoted a deep fake AI, whatever. And I could see them doing that. That's a brand new law. It just came out last year, and she's new, a year or two ago, she didn't go here. So it's new. So the fact that it's a new law and, it does provide for like pretty strictly, did you share it? Da 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 da. I'm like, all right, she's gonna probably be found liable for that. It's new, but maybe not. It's up to the jury. This is probably the most high profile, if not one of the only cases that is really considered and been sued under this new AI deepfake pornography law. And again, I mean, I feel like I was set up in a similar way. Somebody was sending me what I believed at the time, but I really believe deep fake AI, and video of, somebody who I was in a legal battle with, and I believe that was for the purpose of making me share it, which I would never do, and I did not do. But it's scary out here in these YouTube streets for the independent media and, for just anybody. And that's the thing too, like there was a lot of discussion during this trial. There's a lot of discussion surrounding this trial, and with even like Vanity Fair wrote an article or published an article earlier, kind of getting like all off in the mulberry bush. I'm getting all off in the mulberry bush about who is media, who is a journalist, who is this, who is that. And that's why I kind of go out of my way to say, like, I'm not a freaking journalist. I'm just a girl on the internet. Yes, I'm a media personality because I have media, like presence, but like anybody could. I didn't go to school for journalism. I am not a journalist. I don't work at the New York Times. I'm, a girl on the internet. I want to be able to tell my opinions about stuff. I'm uniquely educated, sure, but this is just my opinions. And anybody and everybody should be allowed to go online and share their opinions. I mean, I've thought that, at least certainly in the United States of America. So, I mean, in a little bit of a way, like I'm always sort of rooting for whoever it is that's getting sued for defamation as a general kind of like, let me start there. I kind of start biased, but I definitely think there are definitely cases of actual defamation. And in those cases, um, yeah, people should be held accountable. Now, in this particular case, the jury did find Milagro to be liable for defamation per se. It appears as though that will maybe be like a moot point, like she won't be liable for defamation per se because specifically she didn't get notice or whatever. So I really don't know what to really do with that analysis. I guess we got to see what the judge is going to decide. Apparently the judge does still have the power to overturn that media ruling. Like, so I don't know if that, like, I'm not saying it like for sure personally, but I have seen other people saying it. So apparently, like, there's some way that the judge still could be like, no, she's not media, and then in which case the defamation stuff might stand. But I don't think that's going to happen because the judge did not only affirm the jury's financial award, but actually took down an amount of the award, like 15, 17, 16 or so, whatever, $1,000. So I really think the judge is going to let it stand that Milagro is a media defendant. But to me, I feel like that's sure, like it's a cool, like little important point, but like it's still kind of doing the exact same thing that we're over here complaining about. Like, I don't want a seat at their freaking crusty ass table. It stinks over there. The food is poisoned. and they're losers. I don't want to be a journalist at the journalist table. No, ew. I'm we the people, okay? Of the people, by the people, for the people. I don't want to be called a journalist. Yeah, I should get media protections. Journalism and media is not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So it just isn't. So that being said, I think, it's cool and interesting, like as a legal philosophy or what are we, not theology, theory, theorems, whatever is media, who's not media, but it's just kind of more gatekeeping to me. I don't care if you went to journalism school or not, if you biased. If you bias and unsettling, I don't really care if you went to journalism school. It's like, honestly, like look at Chloe Malos and the rest. I mean, I don't want to be in the group with them. I don't want to be in that group with them. Anyway, okay, so let's read more. Hold on. Let's read more from this. Okay, here's Milagro entering in to the court. The girl is her lawyer, Jeremy McLemont's daughter. That's him right there, waving. Okay, I don't know who these two are. Are they other lawyers? I don't know. Lunch has been delivered. So this was 4 hours ago. Right now it's 5 o'clock, 5:05 p.m. And it's the same time here as it was over there, like as it is over there. So this was 4 hours ago. So maybe about 1 o'clock. The lunch has been delivered to the jury room from Carrot Express, which I learned through Google is a Miami Beach establishment with nearly 30 locations in Florida and New York City. Looks like a good one to try. Actually, wait, the Carrot Express delivery might not actually be for the jurors. Okay, I can't even blame Megan Cuniff for trying to find something to report on up in here, because it is kind of boring to sit around and wait for the jury. And maybe for attorneys, I'll let you know if I hear more. I confirmed with my new friend in the courthouse cafeteria that the Carrot Express is for attorneys. The jurors ordered from the cafeteria, which actually offers pretty good food, unlike the cafeteria. I mean, I guess, listen, shout out to Megan Cuniff for letting us know about the cafeteria food. Megan Thee Stallion arrived at the courthouse before I got here, so I don't have video of her. But a friend kindly sent me this photo. A friend kindly sent me this photo of her walking in with Travis Ferris. So this is her roommate. Oh, I'm not going to say it. I can't say what I was going to say, but bless him, Lord. Amen. Bless his heart. Okay. What I will say, one of her best outfits so far. I've kind of made it a little bit of a tradition to, do a little fashion police on her outfits. Do I spot? Nope. She's still got an open toe, which I still would not do in court, especially at such a late month in the year. It is December 1st, girl. Close the toe. Or is it clear? No. It's open toe shoes, but it's at least got a point. It kind of gives the impression that it's a closed toe, but look at the bag. It's a tote. She's got enough room in there today. She's got enough room for a laptop. She could put a notebook. She could put some pens, some markers, a coloring book. She could put a journal. She could put snacks, cookies, chips, a change of clothes even. I mean, this is a practical size bag for court. Now, it's probably more than my house. It probably costs more than the house I live in. But, shout out to her for, taking my advice. I don't know if she heard my advice or not. I do think it's a little too much cleavage. The hair is great. No issues with the hair. Okay. One contributor to the length. And just so y'all know, like, pretty much most hair is great for court. I mean, there's like some things I probably wouldn't do, but like pretty much anything like is pretty much acceptable for court. So just like what you would wear to a job interview or whatever is fine. One contributor to the length of jury deliberations. Okay, so 4 hours ago, Megan Cuniff is like, okay, this is taking too long. We all thought this was going to be done Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving or whatever. And now here we are back here, and it was like past 1 o'clock. They having lunch. Like everybody thought they were going to be in and out. Tasha K said on Wednesday, whenever she got sued by Cardi B, the jury returned a verdict in 2 hours as liable. So Tasha K, another blogger, podcaster, whatever you want to call it, she's been in the game for a long time. She got sued by Cardi B and lost. And it was like defamation, like $4 million, $3 million, 2, 4 something. And then they ended up going out of court doing a little settlement. But part of the settlement was she can't talk about Cardi B anymore in a disparaging way, or maybe at all. So she was saying, the longer this goes on, the better the odds for Milagro. That's what she was saying as somebody who's been through it. But Megan Cuniff, you could tell she's starting to get aggravated. She's starting to get tired. She's like, why is this taking so long? She said, well, one reason why it's taking so damn long with this jury is probably how poorly the case was argued in closings. Megan Cuniff has not been pleased with the performance of the lawyers on Megan Thee Stallion's side, and she has made it very clear. She's not been pleased with their performance. She has been tagging Quinn Emanuel all last week. At Quinn Emanuel, why don't these lawyers know how to object to anything? I mean, she has not been pleased with the performance at all of these $1,000 lawyers, not in the least. And so here she is again. They crapped the bed when it came to their closing. She said, this is a lot to sort through, and jurors did not get a very good roadmap. I thought to myself when driving back to Miami last night, this is 3 hours ago. So another hour goes by. She's like, I thought to myself driving back to Miami last night. She went on a big vacation this week. She was out in the somewhere in the Keys in the Biscayne Bay. I don't know where she was. Don't quote me. She went somewhere. And she's driving back to Miami last night. She said, I should be prepared for this to go into Tuesday and maybe even longer. That would have been tomorrow. Or maybe maybe it'll be a hung jury and it'll be a mistrial. Now that I've typed all this, maybe they'll have a verdict in the next 10 minutes. And sure enough, y'all, she says, my tweet worked. It looks like we have a verdict. Everyone is going into the courtroom now. So that was 3 hours ago. So let's scroll back up a little bit. Her Twitter. The jury is filing into the courtroom now for the verdict reading in Megan Thee Stallion's defamation lawsuit against Milagro Gramz Cooper. Judge Altanaga. Oh, wait, hold on. Where's all the tweets? Where's her tweets? Okay, hold on. I don't know where that thread starts. Okay, here. All right. 3 hours ago, a jury has found Milagro liable for defaming Megan Thee Stallion, intentionally inflicting emotional distress by coordinating with Tory Lanez, and for promoting the deep fake video. They gave mixed answers to the media questions, but concluded yes, Milagro does qualify as media. That was yes. She's liable for all three claims, though if the judge agrees with the media ruling, then the defamation claim will be dismissed because Megan's lawyers did not serve Milagro with proper notice before suing. Damages are small, Megan Cuniff says, and she must be rich. Damages are small, $75,000, including punitives. That's a lot. But if you compare it to, what Megan Thee Stallion was trying to go for, is I think she wanted $1 million or more. But Tasha K originally, like I said, it was in the multi-millions. It was in the multi-millions. So, I mean, it could have been a lot worse. And then Megan Cuniff said it doesn't get more USA than a jury trial. National parks, baseball stadiums, and jury trials, my favorites. The judge entered the final judgment today, reflecting the jury verdict. But as she said, there are, quote, foundational post-judgment issues that will be briefed. And I expect a final ruling from her on the media defendant question. Check my page for videos of Megan and Milagro leaving, working on an article that details the exact verdict and how much damages for which claims, and what were the jury's answers to all the media questions. I'm working on an article while dealing with all the stuff that comes with being away from home, like getting a car rental from the garage and driving to a new Airbnb in Miami Beach so I have a quiet place to work. Milagro's total bill to Megan could go up. Okay, so here's something else too. Milagro's total bill to Megan Thee Stallion could go up a lot higher than $75,000. And why is that? Well, promoting the deep fake video, which she was found to be liable for by the jury, and she had to have been found maliciously. They were to be maliciously promoting it, which the jury, that was one of their questions that they did ask way earlier this morning, back in the 9 o'clock in the morning era. And they were like, what does this mean, malicious? And this was one of the things that I did cover on my video, the last video that we, did here, live stream. is this malicious thing. And shout out to Pam Esquire. I think I like started that thought earlier and I didn't close the loop. But Pam Esquire was like, no. It doesn't just have to be promoting. It has to be malicious. It has to be malicious promotion or like, with reckless disregard for the safety or whatever. So then I'm like, wait, that gives Milagro like a whole entire another like kind of way out. And I thought maybe she had somewhat of a leg to stand on that. But apparently, the jury did find that she was liable for sharing it. So the fact that she was found to be liable for that, it does carry its own attorney's fees provision. So Milagro could be, and I believe is, on the hook for paying Megan Thee Stallion's attorney's fees. Now, if I am Milagro's attorneys, I'm arguing I'm not paying none of your attorney's fees for that defamation because it all could have been avoided if you had sent a notice, a cease and desist, a demand letter, whatever. You didn't send it, so I'm not paying your lawyer's fees for that. I'm not even liable on that defamation. So I would imagine that she does still talk about Cardi, they said. Okay, thank you for letting me know. So Bree said they never proved that she coordinated with Tory. Well, I think that, technically they did because the jury found that they proved it. So whether, me and you or me believe what they proved, the Rock Nation, or excuse me, I keep calling them that, what Megan Thee Stallion's lawyers proved, to us, whether we think that they proved something or not is kind of irrelevant to what the jury said. And the jury did say, the intentional infliction of emotional distress claim was based upon the idea and the premise that the intentional infliction of emotional distress was that Milagro was coordinating with Tory Lanez to act as his mouthpiece, even after Tory Lanez was, not only gagged, but had like a literally a restraining order against him. And Cupid's bow said, does this mean Meg can go and file a restraining order against Millie? I think that, yes, I'm not an expert here. I don't see what is, stopping Megan from having filed a restraining order against Milagro at any point prior, including prior to the lawsuit. But I would be actually shocked. I would be really shocked if Megan Thee Stallion does not try to get a restraining order against Milagro. So, I'm predicting Megan Thee Stallion is going to do exactly what she did with the Tory Lanez situation, where it's like after Tory Lanez was found to be guilty in his criminal trial, then Megan Thee Stallion, from what I understand, went and filed a restraining order. Now, this is my understanding of things, to my memory. I could be wrong, so please don't take this as a fact. But from what I remember, it was like he was found guilty and then Megan Thee Stallion went and got a restraining order against him. So I would be shocked if she didn't follow the same pattern here, considering one of the things that that Milagro was considered to be found liable for has to do with the intentional infliction of emotional distress claim, which hinged upon basically Tory Lanez violating a restraining order. So I think Megan Thee Stallion will go and bring that to a judge, a court somewhere, and say, I want, her to not be able to, I want it on paper, in writing, black and white, protection, the same way she did for the Tory Lanez situation. The jury answered no to the question if she acted for someone. They said she acted on her own. I don't know about that. I need to see the jury. That's not what I understand to be going on. I don't know where you got that from. Maybe you're right. You might be right. I don't know. That's not what I understand it to be going on, though. Meg spoke during a gag order. Yes, she did violate a gag order. Yes, she did. Okay, let's continue reading here. Okay, so let's watch this video.
Hello from Miami, where we have a verdict in the Megan Thee Stallion defamation lawsuit. Milagro Cooper has been found liable for all three claims. Damages are $75,000, not as much as Megan's attorneys were hoping for, but just the fact that Milagro was found liable for those three claims is a big win for them. The jury did conclude that Milagro is a media defendant, which, according to how things go, because Megan's lawyers didn't serve her with a notice before suing her, the claim is going to be thrown out. It needs to be finalized by the judge. The judge did enter a final judgment today, but it's a little confusing about whether that actually covers the media defendant issue. However, the fact that the jury said that, yes, Milagro is a media defendant should really carry some weight with the judge here. They didn't answer yes to all the questions about whether she properly performs the tasks of a media defendant. I'll get into that in my story. But overall, they did conclude that she is a media defendant. However, they also concluded she defamed Megan, intentionally inflicted emotional distress on her, and then promoted a sexually explicit fake video of her. So that's the real issue here. And the fake video claim brings attorney's fees. So the $75,000 in damages is one figure, but we could end up with another figure here later on that requires Milagro to pay Megan's.
So you get the point. This is kind of like what I was saying. Rolling Stone. So a lot of y'all are asking, like, what is the violation for Meg? What is the consequence? What is the consequence for Megan violating the gag order? I don't know. I have no idea. Puffin said that is not the real issue, girl. Well, it kind of ends up being the real issue in some way, because the defamation one, if that one's gonna fall away, then the only ones left are those other two. And so it's like, okay, well, I guess I would characterize that as being the real issue now, because that's the only issues left. Okay. Okay, so let's go back. Did I see that one? Let me see.
Liable for all three claims. Damages are $75,000, not as much as Megan's attorneys were hoping for.
No, we saw that. Okay, so let me go back up. Is this another one or is it the same video?
Have a verdict in the Megan Thee Stallion defamation lawsuit. Milagro Cooper has been found liable for all three claims.
Okay, so here's Megan Thee Stallion has been in court all day, and look at her bounce. Look at her bounce. Oh, where's the tired? Where's the tired? Hold on. Wait, hold on. I thought she was supposed to be tired because she's been in court.
I'm just happy.
She's just happy. Oh, I thought she was supposed to be tired from sitting in court all day. Look, the bag is big enough for some stuff. Put some stuff in it. Look at the pep in the step. Turns out she's not too tired. Put a one in the chat if she's not too tired to walk back to this car with she's bouncing, she's popping, she's hopping, she's locking. Hi, everybody. Hi. Turns out she ain't too tired. She ain't too tired to bounce and pop down the street.
I'm just happy.
She's just happy.
I'm just happy.
She's just happy. She's so happy. Okay, that's interesting. Is this the same video again? She keeps sharing that same one? Girl.
Cooper has been found liable for all three claims. Damages are $75,000, not as much as Megan's attorneys were
I don't know
hoping
why it's
for.
on there 4 damn times. I'm working on an article while dealing with all the stuff. Jury has found her liable. We read that. Oh, here's the verdict. Let's read. Okay, verdict form. In answering the following questions, Okay, defamation per se. Do you find that Ms. Cooper is liable to Megan Thee Stallion for defamation by accusing her of perjury by lying under oath in a criminal trial when she asserted that Miss Pete was a non-credible witness? Okay, everybody. Y'all are nobody is allowed to say anymore that Megan Thee Stallion is a non-credible witness, because apparently that's defamation per se, girl. That's coming as a surprise to me. It's coming as a surprise to me, but apparently none of us are allowed to say this no more, so don't say it. Okay. We're not allowed to say this either. I could go down the list of all the different shit that was not true. Okay. We're not allowed to say that. Can't say that. Can't say I could go down the list of all the different shit that was not true, because that is defamation per se, apparently. I did not know that till right now. It's news to me. And a question apparently is defamation as well. Who knew? I didn't realize a question could be defamation, but was Megan Thee Stallion caught trying to deceive the courts again? Apparently questions can be defamation. Who knew? Okay, so the jury said yes. Do you find that her statements caused Megan Thee Stallion damages? The jury said yes. Okay, during the time period when the statements were made, do you find that that Milagro provided disinterested and neutral commentary? No. I did think they were probably gonna, maybe they weren't gonna pick yes on this one. When I was going through the form, I didn't click yes or no on this. I'm like, I didn't want to jinx it. I like the neutral and disinterested. I found to be kind of like, I don't know how a jury would have found on that. But they said no, it wasn't neutral or disinterested. She was interested. And I could see how they could find that one part. So these are all questions and leading the pillars of like the media question, right? Like if they found her to be liable for defamation, they had to answer these media questions. These are the media questions. Number 4, do you find that Milagro regularly disseminated news or information to the public rather than just isolated in one time? Yes. Regularly disseminated information. Yes. They found yes. Do you find that Milagro impartially disseminated information rather than acting primarily to promote her own business? They said no. We don't think she was impartial. We think she was promoting her own business. Number 6, during the time period when the statements were made, do you find by preponderance of the evidence that Milagro operated for the purpose of informing the public about matters of public concern? Yes. And this right here, I'll say, shout out to Milagro's lawyers. They really truly did the best they could with what they what they had. But if they would have gotten, the case from the beginning, I'm assuming they would have argued a little bit stronger, like First Amendment, free speech. She's allowed to say this stuff. Try to get the case dismissed outright in the beginning, media defendant. However, that did happen. Her lawyers did, try to argue she was a media defendant before. So, the judge allowed the jury to decide it, and the jury decided, yes, she is. During the time period when the statements were made, do you find that Milagro functioned in a similar manner to traditional news media, such as newspapers, magazines, television, radio, or other online equivalents? And I mean, she had a radio show. So I think it's hard to say no to this question. They're like, yeah, I mean, she's similar to radio. She was with the radio. Question 8, considering your answers to questions 3 through 7 together, do you find by a preponderance of the evidence that Milagro should be treated as a media defendant? Yes. Okay, so they went down to intentional infliction of emotional distress, and they said, they were asked the question, do you find by a preponderance of the evidence that Milagro intentionally or recklessly engaged in extreme and outrageous conduct toward Miss Pete? Yes. Now, this is the most surprising answer of the day to me. I'm surprised by this, but listen, when you put things in a jury's hands, when you ask for a jury trial, you just kind of got to go with what the jury said. Now, if this case were brought against, for example, Diddy, or somebody, if Mark Agnifilo and Karen Agnifilo were on this case, or Mark Garagos, I would find it hard to believe the case outcome would have been this way. And if it were, I'm certain that they would appeal it and take this law all the way up to the Supreme Court and argue to the Supreme Court that this law is unconstitutional, this deep fake, corn thing. But this right here, I mean, this just kind of straightforward. Like, they found the case, they found, yes, to that Milagro intentionally or recklessly engaged in extreme and outrageous conduct. And, by doing what? By doing what? They don't even say how. What was the extreme and outrageous conduct? I don't know. And do you find that Megan Thee Stallion, suffered severe emotional distress as a result of Miss Cooper's extreme and outrageous conduct? I just don't think speech is extreme and outrageous. There was no showing of violence, of threats of violence. I think the jury, frankly, took away a lot of our rights here with this verdict, because this is not telling us what the extreme and outrageous conduct exactly was. It just says yes or no. So it kind of is like, so what? Is it the part where she told her opinion? Or is it the part where she shared the deep fake? Because if it was the part where she shared the deep fake, that's already a law and that's already been found. Yes. So I don't know. I think maybe the ACLU or somebody like that might want to pick it up, but I could also understand Milagro just being sick and tired of dealing with this. Like, take your lick and keep on moving. She seems perfectly fine with the jury. Not perfectly fine, I shouldn't say that, but she seems pretty upbeat, pretty chipper about the whole thing. So I mean, who am I to get on here and get my cortisol up if she's fine about it? But like, she's probably ready to just move on. You know, it could have been a lot worse. She could have owed that Tasha K money, you know, 4 million, 3 million, 2, whatever it was. Yes, she had harm. Promotion of the altered depiction. Do you find that Milagro willfully and maliciously promoted visual depiction of Miss Pete without Miss Pete's consent, that she knew, that Milagro knew or reasonably should have known was an altered visual depiction? Yes. And this one doesn't really surprise me because it could have gone either way. It's a new law. Who knows? The jury said yes. So do you find that Megan Thee Stallion should be awarded compensatory damages for the defamation per se? And I'm thinking like that this is where she was trying to get that $250,000 as she went to the rehab for $240,000. Not the rehab. What'd she go to? Where'd she go to? Treat therapy, whatever it was, whatever that was, for the $240,000 that Travis Travis Ferris got up there and talked about going to that. I think this is the area, this is the section where that would be. Do you find by a preponderance? So they gave 15,000 instead of 240,000. They gave 15. Do you find that she should be awarded compensatory damages for the intentional infliction? Oh, so this is the amount that goes away. So the defamation per se goes away. This is the 15,000 that the judge took off. 15 of the 1,000, the 16,000 that the judge took off of the amount owed by Milagro. Do you find that Megan Thee Stallion should be awarded compensatory damages against Milagro for intentional infliction of emotional distress? Yes, but it's only 8,000, so they must have not thought it was too extreme. It was 8,000 worth. Okay, so 50,000 for promoting the altered visual depiction. That's pretty steep. Then they move on to punitive damages, 1,000 for the defamation per se claim. And again, this is deleted. This is gone. So that's the other 1,000 that's missing from the 75 minus 16,000. It was the 15,000 we just saw compensatory damages. And then this one is the punitive 1,000. It goes away as well. From what I understand, that's the calculation that the judge did. Question 16. If you found for Megan Thee Stallion on the intentional infliction of emotional distress claim, which is the biggest surprise to me, do you find by clear and convincing evidence that the punitive damages are warranted against Milagro on Megan Thee Stallion's intentional infliction of emotional distress? They gave $1,000 also on the punitive damages. Jury 4-person, dated as of today. Whew, y'all. Ouch. But, you know, it could be worse. So I want to go to, there's a video of Milagro. Did she take it down? Here. Okay, so here's Milagro smiling as she leaves court. What's on his head? Is it? Oh, I think it's a yarmulke. Why isn't this playing? Thanks for coming out every day. She's waving. This guy right here is TMZ. Okay, honestly, this TMZ guy is shady, and like I was in his presence and he just had this icky like energy, like this slimy, slippery, snaky, slimy energy about him, and he just was so shady. Like, please, he is all up in her face with his iPhone 11, and he's like, how are you going to deal with this? Because you testified before the jury that you don't have any money right now. And she takes it in stride, you know, shout out to her. She's kind of like, ha, we'll see or whatever. But it's like, dude, like, get out of her face. Like, oh, what a creepy, disgusting man, in my opinion. I mean, he has the right to do it, but like, this is just giving like throwback vibes to just like the predatory paparazzi. Like, they want to get so mad at people sitting at our freaking houses and making videos. But what about these creeps? Like, look how close these males are to her personal space. Like, just in general, I'm just like, wait, then isn't this like harassment or something? If what I don't know. It just, some things just don't make sense to me, but what do I know? I mean, we live in hell. So there's that.
Tens of millions. What did you get?
What did they say in there?
59,000.
What about attorney fees for the deep fake liability?
She ain't paying attention to her. There's the lawyer. That's her lawyer.
Okay, I mean, look, at the end of the day, this is not my case, it's Milagro's case, right? And we did everything we could to make sure that she got the best verdict possible. We respect the jury's verdict. We always have to, right? And whether we agree with it or not, we respect it. And at the end of the day, it was not a complete win for any side. It's a trial. This is what happens in trial. And we think that, you know, at the end of the day, the verdict was what it's going to be.
But they wanted tens of millions of dollars.
Right. They didn't get that. You know, gratefully, the jury didn't see fit to award her that sort of money. I don't think that was appropriate in any circumstances. And so that's what the jury found.
And is she able to pay $59,000?
I'm not in this game trial, so I can't say whether she can pay that or not.
Is she able to pay $59,000? The whoever it is that's recording this just said, like, is she able to pay $59,000? They're all laughing. Like, that's not for me to say. But like, I think based on her testimony at trial, no, she's not. Who has $59,000 sitting around for a Birkin or whatever?
And then she's gonna have to figure out what her account, right?
Squirrel, you said that you had not appealed your attorneys. And how do you feel about the jump that they did?
The job my attorneys did?
Yes.
Dream team. They were phenomenal.
Are you happy then with the outcome?
I'm not ecstatic. Of course, you want things to
Are
go
you
your way,
happy
but
with the outcome? Are you happy with the outcome? That she just had to get drug across the country to go to court to do all this, to still owe this woman money and possibly also attorneys. I'm sure that's such a stupid way to ask that question. Like, these are supposed to be the professionals. This is what I'm trying to say, y'all. Like, these are the professionals. Are you happy with the outcome? What a stupid ass question. What a dumb question. I just found out today they got dumb questions. Okay, there are in fact and indeed dumb questions, and this is one of them. Are you happy with the outcome? Where did they pick up these real journalists, and where can we drop them back off? Because this ain't gonna cut it. All right, where is Armand Wiggins, please? Can we get more Armand Wiggins on the scene? Are you happy with the, do you have $59,000 to pay the verdict? Like, this is what we're dealing with. The NPCs have been let loose. The Pokemon Go's have de-hologram eyes, and they're just asking questions, pretending to be journalists now. I'm appalled. I am frightened. The question was stupid. It was a dump. Are you happy with the outcome? Bitch, you look at my face. I'm trying to go eat at Fix and Smooth. That's what I would say.
I respect the jury and what they decided, and I think I made up pretty good.
Any lessons learned next time you get on air?
That's a stupid question too. That's the stupid question too. Who are these planted ass pieces of shit? That's what I wanted to know. Learn any lessons? Learn any lessons for the next time you get on your show? Like, they're rubbing it in. Oh my God. I cannot stand them. Oh my God. Who are these idiots? Where have they been these whole days? I haven't seen them in any other day. Are these Scientology plants they just plucked out of the nearby Sea Org? I'm just curious. Who are these gang stalking ass reporters? I've never seen most of them in my life.
Y'all can see how I handle things moving forward.
Thank you. She
Okay.
said, okay, that was her answer to the question. Okay, why don't you watch my next show? You can see how I handle things. You'll see the lessons I learned, buddy.
Is there any concern about having to pay attorney fees because you were found liable for the deepfake video?
You said, am I concerned?
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be moving forward. You know, things will get handled. Like I said, it wasn't a multi-million-dollar verdict, so I think that's a blessing. God is good through and through, honestly.
Do you have any regrets at all about just anything that happened over the last?
Do you have any regrets?
Anything that was said on the street or?
Her face that she's making. Her face that she's making is the face that I'll be making. Like, you regret. Am I happy with the verdict? And do I have any regrets? And did I learn any lessons? And am I concerned about paying the bills? Girl, if y'all let me go eat my lunch, I'm her. I'm her too. Look at the hair. Mid flip. Slay.
Do you have any regrets at all about just anything that happened over the last couple of years? Anything that was
Do you have any regrets?
I think it's important to stand up for what you believe in, and I'm happy for the people that support me and understand me and allow my thought process.
She said, I'm not ecstatic. Of course, you want things to go your way. But like I said, I respect the jury and what they decided.
Things will get handled. Like I said, it wasn't a multi-million.
She's saying that concern. No. Update. Okay, she said, let's see. Okay, that's Megan. Total. Okay. Jury found her liable. Here's the verdict sheet. All right, I think we're done. Okay, and then of course Megan Cuniff will also probably be doing her usual article or whatever. I don't think it's up yet. So with that, let's move to the next story that I wanted to cover today. Okay, wow. Okay, so just 5 minutes ago, it seems like they got out of court. So let me pull this up. It is Inner City Press. Shout out to him. He got his account back. So thank you to everybody who helped him to do that.
All right, here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press. We're leaving after day one of the Luigi Mangione suppression hearings. It got started late. I guess he got in late from the MDC Brooklyn, but when it started, there were a number of witnesses. Let's go over them. The first was from DCPI, that's from the police department, essentially authenticating photographs and videos that they had produced. There were objections, but they were overruled. So this stuff came in, at least that's for purposes of hearing. There was a woman from Pennsylvania 911 going over the tapes of how they got called to go to the McDonald's. So, some stray extraneous noises there, including something about bagels. Some people say it wasn't 84 bagels, it was 24. Anyway, there was a big bagel order. And there was also, she conveyed that somebody in the restaurant, McDonald's, had said that the shooter, seen from television, was seated. So there was a lot of playing of the video. Somehow the defense wanted to focus on somebody going into the bathroom, other people milling around. There was the arrest. I think there was a guy who authenticated the video from the McDonald's, a guy from Pennsylvania that installed the camera and also downloaded the video. At the end, and I think most interesting, at least from my point of view, were two corrections officers from Pennsylvania, from where Luigi Mangione was until he was extradited back. Now, the first one was named Rivers, with a serious British accent. He was actually in the British military before he became a corrections officer. And he worked
It's kind of weird to me. That's something I find to be profoundly weird. Like, I will never forget it. I was at, my friend's, like lake house or whatever last summer, like not this past one, but like 2024. And it was 4th of July. And we were on their boat, my friend's boat, just doing, jet skiing or wakeboarding or whatever we were doing. And I mean, I wasn't doing none of that. I was just sitting in there. But then this water officer zooms up to us. asking for where is the life jackets and where is the life floats and this, that, and the other. And like it was all on the boat. It was just like, okay, someone had to stand up and pull it from under the seat or whatever. And it was like this freaking guy with an Australian accent telling us we weren't pulling life jackets out on the lake fast enough, trying to give us a ticket. And it was like, excuse me, do you know this is Independence Day? It is America Day. And I got this Aussie trying to tell me to pull the life jacket out faster. I was so offended. And so it's like, what are these British people? Y'all, they don't have freedom of speech over there. I'm sorry. Shout out to the British cousins in the chat, but my ancestors got the hell up out of there like 1,000 freaking years ago or something. I mean, it was like 800 years. I mean, a long time ago. Okay. It's been going downhill for pretty much the whole time it started, you know? So it's like, ew, I don't want somebody coming from over there being a correction officer. No. We need people that knows what the hell is going on over here. We know, no. I'm sorry, no. Get your shit together, MDC. What is going on? No.
Do you read Aldous Huxley's Doors of Perception? No, I don't care. So there was a lot of laughter in the courtroom. The second guy wasn't quite as funny. And he didn't really get as much out of Mangione. The first guy apparently had to discuss healthcare, various other things. But the second corrections officer is the one who said that Mangione blurted out, according to Mark Agnifilo, was like, he just blurted out that he had a 3D handgun. So Agnifilo, I guess, tried to raise that it wasn't credible that this was said. And eventually, I guess, in either briefing or oral argument tomorrow or something, they're going to say this was all coerced testimony. That the corrections officers, although they're not police and they're not prosecutors, should have given Miranda warnings before discussing with him. I think I've seen, as I live tweeted it on Inner City Press, on X, as also on Blue Sky, some supporters, I perceive them, were like, he should have kept his mouth, he was talking too talkative. Well, we'll see. The Judge Caro said, see you tomorrow, and so see you tomorrow. Inner City Press, we're going in. Got to cover some other cases right there.
He's going back to court right now. I don't know where the man gets all this energy. Okay, so let's just read the thread of what went on in the suppression hearing today. And it was 8 hours long. Okay, now Luigi Mangione suppression hearing in New York State Court. So this is not the federal case. So, you know, the one where they like dragged him in with the perp walk and the orange. I think this is just the state case. Inner City Press is covering the case and will live tweet thread below. 9:32 a.m. Karen Friedman Agnifilo and Mark Agnifilo are here at the defense table, but still no Luigi Mangione. Squawking of court officers' walkie-talkies. Drum roll. 9:40 a.m. New York Assistant District Attorney Joel Seidemann is at the prosecution table, turning periodically to the front to witnesses row to confer. Still no sign of the judge. An hour after court was supposed to start, Luigi still has not been brought in yet. Being here in the courtroom, hard to know, or witnesses when the transport from the MDC Brooklyn Federal Lockup arrives here at the courthouse. Above Justice Caro's raised bench says, in God we trust. 10:15 a.m. Still no Luigi, but the 4 big screens in the front of the courtroom. Okay, this is funny. Okay, so pay attention to this tweet because the prosecutors are going to get sassy with Inner City Press soon over this tweet. He says, still no Luigi, but the 4 big screens in the front of the courtroom turn on and show as a screensaver a photo of a lion's head. Some laughter in the courtroom. Word that the district attorney's office may not, unlike in other trials, be making exhibits available. Okay, so see this word that so this lion screensaver shows up in court, and on the screens, 4 screens, big screens, people start chuckling and laughing. And Inner City Press says word on the street is the DA's office may not make exhibits available. And, you know, he says like unlike other trials. 10:30 a.m. Still no Luigi. Now the Agnifilos and Kaplan, one of their, I think their other co-counsel, and the prosecution have gone out of the courtroom through a side door. What is this for? Is it to confer with the judge? We are told nothing. 10:43 a.m. So court was supposed to start like an hour and 43 minutes before. And they just still sitting in there. Mark Agnifilo and their co-counsel and the district attorney have re-emerged and returned to their respective tables. Last but not least, Karen Friedman Agnifilo comes out, and then they hear, come to order. 10:44 a.m., Luigi Mangione enters through a side door. Okay, so he's an hour 44 minutes late. But again, I mean, that's not his fault. That's the MDC. He comes in a jacket and dress shirt, no tie. His handcuffs are loudly removed. Pool photographers are summoned up to take the still photographs, and those are to be seen later. And I did include one of those in the thumbnail of this video, the image in the thumbnail of this video. 10:56 a.m., so almost 2 full hours after the court. I'm assuming the court hearing is supposed to start at 9. A small-ish red table has been brought in Agnifilo. Now wires are being brought out for something, apparently some sort of projector. 11:05 a.m. finally started. The judge said, let's get started with the Mapp and Huntley hearing. Okay, so these are two different suppression hearing types. Mapp and Huntley, presumably these would be precedent, like setting types of what's it, a capstone case, or not a capstone, like a landmark. These are like landmark cases, like how they call it, like Miranda ruling, or Miranda hearing, or whatever. So they're doing the Mapp and the Huntley hearing. 11:05 a.m. The assistant district attorney said the people call Chris McLaughlin. He works for the deputy commissioner for public information. Karen Friedman Agnifilo object on relevance, overruled. Okay, so the first people they called up was Chris McLaughlin. He works for the deputy commissioner for public information. Karen Agnifilo was like, no, he's not even allowed to testify. And the judge was like, yes, he is. Okay, the district attorney asks him, what does NYPD's deputy commissioner for public information do? He said, we distribute information to the media and social media. Okay, so he's like the PR for the cops. Okay, what sort of media outlets? He said local and national. We blast. So they're the ones that blast the announcements and the press releases out and things. This is the deputy commissioner for public information, or the department for public information. Okay, so then he hands off, and then the assistant district attorney says, well, do you preserve those things as a business record? And he said, yes. Okay, here's the hard drive. What are images 1, 2, and 3? The assistant district attorney asks. And this public information commissioner says 3 has a video of the shooting. Who obtained it? Someone named Detective Diaz. Okay, Karen Agnifilo says, we object to these images. Some are not relevant, Your Honor. These are not business records. The judge overrules her, says, no, Karen, we're going to have some. Yes, they are. Okay, so the person asking the questions right now is the assistant district attorney. So the prosecutors are asking questions of, someone pretty much on their side. It's somebody that works for the city Department of Information. She says, now let's show this. It's a photo of Luigi Mangione with a mask and a backpack on, with a bench behind him. Now, Inner City Press is characterizing this as a picture of Luigi Mangione, but having Mark Agnifilo and Karen Friedman Agnifilo as his lawyers, I doubt they're conceding even that. How do you know that's my client? Did you take a DNA sample? Well, the shoes don't match. I'm imagining they might object to the fact, to conceding that is Luigi. But Inner City Press says photo of Luigi with a mask and backpack on, with bench behind him from the New York Police Department Facebook. So the city commissioner guy is like, this was a photo from a Starbucks. Okay, let's look at the next photo. The next photo was shown, a Crime Stoppers photo of the shooter and a bicycle rider with a backpack. Okay, the assistant district attorney points and says, to this one, the expert here says, enlargement of an individual holding a pew-pew. All right, let's look at the next picture. The next picture is a male in a jacket inside of a hotel. It says, person of interest in Midtown Manhattan, beep, on December 4th. Call Crime Stoppers, $10,000 reward. Okay, let's look at the next photo. What about these photos? He said, these are the ones we put on Twitter, now known as X. Okay, what about this one? That one is a man inside a hostel. See, he's not saying Luigi. He's just saying a man. And this man doesn't have on a mask? Correct. No mask. And what about this? He says, this is a person of interest. You can DM or X. You can DM on X or Instagram. Okay, let's look at this next one. This is a photo of a male inside a taxi cab wearing a mask. And again, outside the taxi cab. They move on to People's Exhibit 2. Karen Agnifilo says, well, I object to this. This is not relevant to this hearing, Your Honor. And again, Karen Agnifilo is overruled. This is from Fox News Digital. Here are scuba divers looking for a pew-pew. More photos from the taxi cab. It says new images. New images of alleged United Healthcare CEO pew-pewer. All right, let's move on to Exhibit 3. Well, that's a video of the pew-pew. And it was paused, right? It was a snapshot of the video, and it was right as Brian Thompson, the CEO, former CEO of United Healthcare, starts falling. Karen Agnifilo says, how, and look, he's going to call her KFA, Karen Friedman Agnifilo. How many people did you send this photo to? Was it hundreds? So now it's Luigi's lawyer's turn, right? So everything you just heard was the assistant district attorney asking her questions. So now it's going to be Luigi's lawyer's turn. And Mark Agnifilo was Diddy's lead lawyer, but here Karen Friedman Agnifilo is the lead lawyer. So she's asking these questions today. She said, how many people did you send these pictures to? Was it hundreds? He said, could be. We wanted help to identify the subject. Karen Agnifilo said there was a New York Police Department NYPD tip line. How many tips did you get? Objection, Your Honor. No, the judge said, shut up. No, you can ask that. Was it hundreds? The information officer said, I don't know. Karen says, all right, well, here the Chiron says 1,600 people have been shot in New York City. And 900 incidents. How many of those did you send photos out to the public of? Objection, Your Honor. Okay, so Karen Agnifilo, listen, they fight for their clients, I'll tell you that. She said, okay, there's 1,600 shootings. 900 shootings in New York City. 1,600 people have been shot. Have you sent photos out of any of them? How many of them did you send photos out of? Because they're trying to argue that this is like a political prosecution. But the judge didn't even let that question get asked. So here's Karen Agnifilo trying, and finally, like, she's the one who the objection works on. She can't ask her question. She says, isn't it true you only sent it because, and the judge cuts her off. Stop, sustained. Can't ask that. She says, fine, no more questions. All right, so then they move on to the next witness of the trial. I am Bernard Piles, and I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm a supplier of security cameras and alarm systems in Moon Township, Pennsylvania. My position is in sales to get security camera products out to people. Okay, question, and this is the prosecutor asking him. Question, in December last year, 2024, where did you work? He's like R&D electronics installation. I don't know if it is R&D. There's a question mark here. Did you install and maintain video from the McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania? He said, yes, I did. The system was ultimately operating properly. And he said he exported the video with the date and the timestamps. He said on December 10th, he downloaded footage and imagery from those security cameras from December 9th, which was the morning. So the shooting happened on the 4th, but Luigi was apprehended on the 9th. Remember, there was like a manhunt for him. Who did you meet at the McDonald's on December 10th? And this is the security camera guy. He said, I met managers at the McDonald's and several people from NYPD. What were you looking for? He said, a certain individual. Okay, so how did you decide what to download from the security camera footage? He said the detectives told me what to download, the NYPD detectives. The assistant district attorney goes on. Okay, let's turn to People's Exhibit 4A to 4D. Are civilian witnesses' faces redacted? Yes. Okay. Did you set aside the hard drive? Yes. The video from inside the McDonald's was shown. The assistant district attorney said, can you pay in cash at these self-order kiosks? And the camera guy says, no, you can't pay in cash there. What time was this as marked? And the security camera expert says it was 8:59. So I guess that's about 9 o'clock in the morning. Luigi Mangione. So we get a little bit of insight into what Luigi Mangione was doing today in court during all of this. And he was studying the screen intently, chin resting in his hand. The fourth video shown shows police entering the McDonald's. The assistant district attorney said, here's another angle. The video was labeled lobby restrooms. And someone goes into the bathroom. Okay, what time is this now? 9:03 a.m. And does Luigi remain there until the police officers enter? Yes. Luigi's in there until the cops come in. Okay, this is interesting because I thought that, does he remain there until police officers enter? I thought they approached Luigi while he was at a booth. Remember that whole thing was like he was sitting at a booth and the police officers approached him and they took his backpack and all that. Well, apparently Luigi was in the bathroom when the police officers came into the restaurant, into the McDonald's lobby. There's a new video labeled lobby side door, and Karen Agnifilo Friedman said, Your Honor, can we approach the bench? Because this is getting a little bit And then they do go and have a sidebar. They come back, cross-examination. So now it's time for Luigi's lawyer to get up and ask the questions. So they went talking in the sidebar about something, I don't know what. We're not told. So Luigi Mangione's third lawyer, Jacob Kaplan, says, are those more civilians walking into this side door? The camera expert said, yep, correct. Luigi's lawyer, Jacob Kaplan, said, and the officers, they remain in the same position? And the camera guy said, yep, same area. Okay, the judge said, and she's saying Justice Kara. So the judge says, Mr. Kaplan, I can watch this. So just to Luigi's lawyer. I can watch this video myself. This is a hearing. Call your next witness. The witness next to witness comes up. Hello, I am Miss States, Blair County 911 Department of Emergency Services. So we're on to the third witness. This is Blair. No, Miss States. This is Miss States from Blair County 911. She keeps the 911 calls. Publishing. Okay, so look at this 5 hours ago. Inner City Press says, note, I'm publishing this at the request of the DA's office. Hi. This is an email to him or a DM to him. Your tweet saying we may not be making evidence available like other trials is not accurate. This is not a trial. It's a pre-trial hearing, which is different. Oh, she thought she ate, girl. Can you please clarify for your followers? Thank you. Okay, so it's true that you're going to be keeping information from the public. It's just not called a trial. It's called a pre-trial hearing. Okay, bitch. Anyway, moving on. Luigi Mangione's second lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, said, we object, Your Honor. These are not business records. What in the hell is this that's getting shown? All these 911 calls. Hearsay is allowed at this hearing, the assistant district attorney said. The judge said, I'll admit it at this hearing, but don't get too comfortable like the jury's going to see it or something. This is just in front of the judge. This is a pre-trial hearing. Okay, the assistant district attorney said People's Exhibits 5C and 5D. When was this? States, so the expert said it was 9:14. And again, this is the lady, this is the dispatcher. She answers 911 calls. Okay, here's the audio was played in court. Okay, so breaking news, got some audio from the 911 call itself played in court. Quote, I have a customer here that other customers say looks like the CEO shooter. The dispatcher, quote, what's your name? The name is redacted. Quote, I believe he is wearing, let me look at my security camera. He's wearing a mask. Hold on. Hold on. He's wearing a black jacket, a tan beanie, and a mask. So this is from the 911 call. I believe he is wearing, let me look at my security camera. He's wearing a black jacket and a tan beanie and mask. Is it a white male? Yes. Well, I mean, he has the beanie down. I don't know what to do here. I tried to call the non-emergency line. Okay, what about his height and weight? Mid height with the hoodie on, he looks heavier. I mean, I hope she's wrong, the customer. So the person calling is like, I hope this customer is wrong. Looks like he has a CVS or a Walgreens bag in front of him. And the sound of typing. I ate all the bagels, 84 bagels, one of them no butter. So there was a bagel order, a big bagel order. Some laughter was in the courtroom. Just keep an eye on him. Let us know if he leaves. Okay, so the cop said, just keep an eye on him. Let us know if he leaves and we'll, follow him or whatever. The judge said, okay, I want to take a break. So they took the lunch break. 3 hours ago, 2:20 p.m., they come back to court after the lunch break. The assistant district attorneys wheel in with their cart of exhibits, come to order. Agnifilos and Jacob Kaplan, Luigi's lawyers, they all three come in through the side door, followed by Luigi, handcuffed behind his back. The cuffs are taken off. The assistant district attorney goes on with more questions, says, before the break, we heard the 911 call. Now, let's turn to this radio transmission file. What time is it? So I think this is like the Alpha, that thing, 10-4, 10 over. I think it's that. Says, look at the officers. The officers were dispatched at 9:15 a.m. Okay, and did they initially get the subject's New Jersey ID number wrong? Yes, they did. They checked the ID in other states in the region. Nothing. It's Mangione, Mike, Alpha, Nancy, whatever. Okay. And that ID came back valid from Maryland? Yes. So then shown on the screen was a call for service detail report. So they did show some exhibits, even though it's a pretrial hearing. Call for service detail report call narrative looks like New York City shooter. When did they realize the first ID didn't exist in the databases they checked? The 911 dispatcher said that was at 9:31. So about 15 minutes after the call comes in, they realize the New Jersey ID is not a real ID, or it's not coming back in any of the databases. Okay, so when did they finally run the correct spelling of Luigi Mangione? So they had spelled his name wrong, I guess. That was at 9:53. So, 30 minutes or so goes by and they're trying to find him in their system. 5 photos are shown on 5 big screens. The assistant district attorney said no more questions. Karen Agnifilos said, I don't got no questions for them either. So they call the next witness. The next witness is a Pennsylvania corrections officer, Rivers. The district attorney, the prosecutor says, where is SCI Huntington? The corrections officer said, about half an hour from Altoona, Pennsylvania. It's a high security place. What did you do before you were a corrections officer? I was in the British Army and then a gun store. Had you ever been required to read someone their Miranda rights? No. Which inmates are housed in Rear D? Could be a high profile case or an inmate being at risk. They're placed under watch. Okay, who did you monitor? He said, Luigi Mangione. What did you know about the Luigi Mangione allegations? Now, Luigi's lawyer, Karen Agnifilo, did try to object, but the judge did not allow her to object. So no, overruled. So the answer to the question was allowed. What did you know about these allegations? Well, that he was accused of Pew Pew, a health industry CEO. Did you have an interest in this case? The corrections officer said, no, I don't care. Laughter in the courtroom. Why was Luigi moved? He said, we have more security. We wanted to prevent extortion of him and to prevent staff leaking information to the media. I'm to write down his movements 7 times an hour and feed him. 7 times an hour is very odd. But anyway, what were you told? The corrections officer said that SCI Huntington did not want any Epstein-like incident. Oh my God, girl, they say anything on the stand. They didn't want an Epstein incident with Mangione. I would not have said it that way. It was said to me. Okay, so how was Luigi treated? He said he got meals at the same time, but he got printouts of mail and like his mail, he got printouts of it, and he has no tablet. Okay. Could you see into his cell? Yeah, it's a see-through cell. It's plexiglass. Do inmates have entertainment in jail? He said, well, it depends. He had books. Did he ever ask you anything? Yeah, he asked me where I'm from. Yeah, I mean, he's like, what in the hell is this guy doing telling me what the hell to do over here in America? I mean, look, listen, he's accused of some heinous stuff, but like, where are you from? Why are you on watching me? Do you speak with an accent? He said everyone does, which is true. Everyone does have an accent, but he got a chip on his shoulder because he knows that his don't sound like ours. Did he tell you anything? He said, yeah, he told me about fighting lady boys in Asia. How people have a greater experience of and tolerance for suffering in Asia. So there was a Q&A back and forth. He said, yeah, back and forth. Are there rules what to say? He said, yeah, there's a code of ethics. Did you speak with Luigi Mangione about healthcare? Okay, this is interesting. The corrections officer is being asked, did he speak with Luigi Mangione about healthcare? He said, yeah, we did speak about the difference between private and nationalized healthcare and the perception of the media and social media. He has been in there just talking to anybody that'll listen, it sounds like. I said the mainstream media focused on the crime. Social media focused on the wrongs in the industry. So again, we're like running into this. Let's compare social media versus mainstream media bullshit. Even in the Luigi Mangione criminal case. Did he ever bring up Ted Kaczynski? I think that's the unit boomer. Yeah, he said he was disappointed he was being compared to him. Okay, that's interesting. Remember how people were like, oh, he's just like the unit, blank, 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 blank. He read his manifesto. Apparently, Luigi was telling the corrections officer, I don't like being compared to that freak. He said he wanted to make a statement to the public. And then the assistant district attorney said, and what do you think about that? He said, I don't give a shit. I don't care. Do you carry a service weapon? He said, no, that would be too dangerous. Okay. Do you use any force? Did you use any force when you spoke to him? No. Did he sleep and eat and go to the bathroom? Yes. And did he speak to you on December 17th as well? Yes. Okay. So this right here, this stuff, what he was talking to the guard about, Karen Agnifilo, Mark Agnifilo, and them, they're trying to, I think, suppress that stuff because they're saying that Luigi was asked questions under duress or, coerced or whatever into saying, the answers to these questions. But so this is the assistant district attorney saying, were you denied food? Were you denied water? You voluntarily spoke to him again. What else did he say? He said he wanted to make a statement to the public. I don't carry a weapon. He ate, he slept, he went to the bathroom. Did he discuss literature with you? Yeah, he said he liked Orwell, Thoreau, and Huxley. He gave me Huxley's Doors of Perception. Did you read that book? No. Why not? And he said, because I don't care. So this guy don't care about nothing. He is a perfect little MK candidate they got watching over the prisoners over here, the people in jail. Did he discuss healthcare with you? Yeah. He spoke briefly about obesity in the U.S. Was he ever allowed to leave his cell? Yeah, he was. But on Form 17X, it says he refused exercise. Okay, well, was he allowed to use the phone? He called his attorney. He was calm. Did it ever seem like he didn't want to talk to you? No. Did you ever make any threats to him or promises? No. Did you see yourself as a part of law enforcement? No. Okay, he obviously was a part of law enforcement. He's a corrections officer. Please, the man, do you see yourself as part of law enforcement? Has jack shit to do with, are you law enforcement? Did we interview you in January of this year? Yes. At some point, did Luigi kick the door? No, Luigi kicked the door, everybody. Yes, 1428. No further questions. Okay. Karen said, can I have a break before I do this cross-exam? The judge said, yeah. Okay, they came back 3:57. Luigi was brought back into the court, cuffed, and then they uncuffed him. Karen Friedman Agnifilo said, okay, she's talking to this British corrections officer who's pretending he's not law enforcement. She says, in December last year, 2024, where was your usual station? Rear D? He said, well, Rear D is not always open. I got assigned. Do you have any special training, sir? He said, no. Karen Agnifilo said, the cell door is locked at all times? Yes. And if he leaves the cell, he's handcuffed? Yes. Did he have TV or radio? Any news into his cell? No, and no visitors. But he had an attorney call? Yes. And you knew this was a high-profile case with the news trucks outside, didn't you? Yes. And you're trained to keep things calm, aren't you? He said, well, there's schools for that, but I didn't go to one. Okay, but you were trying to keep him calm? The corrections officer said, no, not outwardly, not really, no. Okay, so he said he had gone to Thailand and Vietnam. Vietnam, are you sure he said that? The corrections officer said, yeah, I'm sure. Okay. What did you say about third world countries, Officer Rivers? He said levels of suffering and happiness. Do you know what a Miranda warning is, officer? Yes. And you told him you took mugwort, and you saw gnomes? He said, I don't recall saying that. Whoo! This guy said, oh God. So Karen Agnifilo is like, did you tell my client that you took a substance and you saw gnomes? He said, I don't recall saying that. Hold on, I lost my spot. He said, I don't recall saying that. Okay, well, how else would my client know that? Objection, Your Honor. Okay, sustained. So you spoke about healthcare, your opinion. What was it? What was your opinion? He said, I don't remember what I said. Oh, so you only remember what he said? You don't remember your side of the conversation? The judge said, come on, no more commentary, Karen. Karen said, fine. On December 16th, you start at 1:49 p.m., multiple entries. Use the word talking and sitting. What did you write down? He said a book recommendation he gave me. Karen said, Your Honor, I'm almost done. Mr. Rivers, did you say you didn't want to speak about this case? He said, I don't remember saying that. No further questions for this witness. Okay, then the assistant district attorney, the prosecutor, wants to get back up and asks redirect questions of this same corrections officer witness. Says, what do you mean by you didn't care? He said, I did not care about this case. Okay, so your questions were not necessarily designed to learn anything. The corrections officer said, right, they were not. Okay, what did the corrections officer Henry state? Well, it says standing at the door. Okay, nothing further. Next witness, I call Officer Matthew Henry. So they're talking about Officer Henry right here. He wrote standing at the door, nothing further. So they call him up. Officer Matthew Henry. The ADA said, are you nervous? He said, I'm agitated because I do care. Custody and control. Oh, he's pissed. Well, what did you know about Mangione? He said, well, I had seen a video of the Pew Pew in New York City, and his was the name associated with it. To you? Yeah, he spoke to me. He volunteered that he had a 3D printed weapon and foreign currency in a backpack. I don't believe that for 1 second. I don't believe this cop for 1 freaking second. And he's already told us he's interested because he cares. He's agitated. Okay. He said people thought he was a foreign agent because he had foreign currency. Did you respond to that? No, I was just watching him. Who wrote laying on bunk? Officer Henry said, I did. I wrote laying on bunk. And what 3D firearm did he say he had? A handgun. Nothing further. Mark Agnifilo is rushing to the lectern. Okay, so Karen handled the last witness, and now, Mark Agnifilo comes flustered, running to the podium. I swear, I think Mark Agnifilo is going to hell, but if I'm ever in any trouble, I hope he volunteers to take my case, because that freaking man, my God, there's nothing he ain't willing to do. He's rushing to the lectern. Wait a second. He just blurted out I had a gun. The witness, the officer said, define blurting out. I mean, he said it. He just said that out of nowhere. Mark Agnifilo says. The assistant district attorney objects. Did you write that down? Did you write that down? That he blurted out or he said that he had a pew pew. You wrote that down in your notes? No. Do you have access to paper? As a police officer, you have access to paper. You could have wrote something down? Yes. And you knew this was a murder case involving a pew pew, didn't you? Yeah. But you did nothing to memorialize this supposed admission? Nope. That's a little reckless. Mark Agnifilo goes on. They wrote you said there were 2 cells, but now you say there's 5? Yeah. So their report is wrong. Their camera's right. Did he say if the magazine was 3D printed? I don't remember that. Did any words leave your mouth to him? Yeah. He asked me about jail. Okay. But you didn't write anything down. We're going to get you out of here and back to Pennsylvania today. Don't you worry. But he just said these things to you? Yep. Nothing further, Your Honor. The assistant district attorney comes up and says, Sir, Officer Henry, do you have any interest in this case? He said no. The assistant district attorney said nothing further. And then court was adjourned. And somebody said, this case has so many crazy characters. OMG. And I agree. It is crazy out here. Thanks so much to Clayton with a right for the $2 super chat. BJ, love your coverage. Now I want to show y'all something else too. And we did already watch that video from Inner City Press. So, I'm not gonna play that again. But I want to show y'all the trailer for the Roblox video I have coming out tomorrow. Okay, so here's my other channel, BJ Investigates. And here is the trailer.
Roblox, a billion-dollar company that calls itself the safest place on the internet for anyone. You would see it, you would not think there's any way predators could infiltrate this game or anything like that. And what I saw was there were people trying to do horrible stuff with children within this community, and it blew my mind.
This case against Roblox is a predation of minors, and you have adults masquerading as children.
It's a huge problem. People are aware of it, but it is still growing.
Since 2018, police have arrested at least 24 people accused of misusing Roblox to contact young users and move chats off platform.
It's not okay though, it's not, on Roblox.
Unless Roblox can keep every single dangerous predator off of its site, then it shouldn't have the site at all. It should not be exposing our kids to this danger.
It's very dangerous what they're perpetuating. They know it, and they have made choices to not use the tools that they could be using to protect children, and they've done that for profits.
And how do you think of the problem of predators on Roblox?
So fun.
Where it stands now, Roblox inarguably not safe for children.
Please do not send any hate or honestly comments of any kind to anyone mentioned in this video on behalf of me or yourself. The purpose of this video is to give my commentary and opinion on matters of public concern. Thank you.
That was supposed to come out on Thanksgiving, but it's coming out now tomorrow. Okay, so that's coming out tomorrow. I expect to see everybody. I expect to see everybody in the chat tomorrow, plus your mama, plus your daddy, and everybody and all of them, because we worked very hard on that video. It's a very important video. Yeah, I mean, that's what was being said. But listen, Mark Agnifilo and Karen Agnifilo are known to just do whatever it takes to win a case. I will say that. So, yeah, I mean, to recap, Milagro was found to be liable today. The jury verdict was in. She's liable for defamation, liable for intentional infliction of emotional distress, and liable for the sharing, the promotion, malicious or willful malicious and willful of a deep fake, da-da-da-da-da. The defamation one may fall away, it seems, and the judge did dock the jury verdict of the $75,000 award down to $59,000. To hear Milagro say it, she's happy that it could have been worse and it wasn't, and she was going, Meg the Stallion was going for multiple tens of millions of dollars. She didn't even get 1 million. Could have been $1 million, could have been 2, could have been 4, could have been 4.2. Then, of course, we have the Luigi Mangione suppression hearings underway. And what are the lawyers trying to suppress? One of the things they're trying to suppress is this statement of Luigi Mangione that he had a so-called pew pew. And did he even say that or not? I mean, I don't know. Also, they want to suppress the backpack that was recovered from Luigi Mangione. They want to suppress statements that he made to that former British army guy. They want to suppress those statements because he was law enforcement and he didn't read Miranda warnings and you have the right to remain silent, da 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 da. And I don't know what time it's going to be, but it'll be tomorrow afternoon. And then there's going to be more Luigi Mangione hearing tomorrow. I may come back tomorrow and do a little bit of an update on that. And probably also tomorrow, I'm going to be giving an update on David. I do want to kind of wrap in some of that Roblox, sort of Discord, online, social media stuff with that. I don't believe there's been anything major updated with David as of today, but tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow will be Tuesday, December 2nd, and we're just going to be moving right along with that. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Neither are opinions. I don't know any of these people. I don't have any insider knowledge. I don't, everybody's innocent until proven guilty and all that. Love you, Mina K. Bye.